for Wednesday. Like, whatever turn out.
Good evening. Calling the February 3rd meeting of the Amherst County Board of Supervisors to order. Please note that the time is 3:03 p.m. Board, the first thing is to approve our agenda. I'm asking that we consider allowing Mr. Adams to participate electronically. That is his request. In order to do that, we need to have a voice vote. So, Mr. Campbell?
Aye.
Mr. Pugh?
Aye.
And I vote aye. So, Mr. Adams, you can participate electronically.
You hear that, Mr. Adams?
All right. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Also, would like to add under new business, well, first under new business, remove the Gateway project financing. We just heard an update on that previously, and I would suggest in its place we add consideration of the VMI resolution. Is there a motion to accept the agenda as amended?
So moved.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. All right, moving forward, if you please rise for the invocation and followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Let us bow our heads. Father God, thank you for this day. We thank you for loving us and just pray that you will bless our great county, bless our citizens, continue to keep our citizens safe and our employees. Father, just lead and guide us and give us wisdom. In your Son's name we ask it and pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the next section of our agenda is citizen comment. Is there anyone signed up? Is there anyone present in the audience that would like to address the board? Hearing and seeing none, we'll move on to ordinance, town precinct. Is that you, Mr. Bryant? Or Keitha? Okay.
Good afternoon. So what we would like to do is create a precinct with the existing town boundaries. The goal for this is to eliminate the need for two ballot styles at the existing, in the courthouse precinct. That is the goal for this.
Okay. And this would be the first read, so this will come back, correct? Mr. Bryant?
Correct.
Board, are there any questions? Mr. Pugh? Mr.
No
Adams?
questions.
Okay, so I think I know the answer, but we're creating a new polling place. Do we have the voting machines and the poll records, and do we have a location yet?
We have the equipment. Currently, we have two ballot scanners. We have additional poll books already in our possession, so there's no purchases that need to be made. The location at this time is unknown. We have reached out to Emmanuel Methodist Church. Prior to 2011, I believe it was 2011, when there were town-specific elections that were held mid-year, they were held at that church. So we reached out to them again. Just found out today from our electoral board member that they had not discussed it at all, and they will discuss it on Friday and will give us an answer on Monday. The alternate would be the town council meeting room. Sarah McGuffin has offered that location as well. And both locations meet all of the ADA requirements for a polling location.
Because we'll need to know that before we adopt the final ordinance, correct?
No, we don't need to know the location before the final ordinance, right, Mr. Popovich?
Yes, the way the county's ordinance is written, there is no indication within the ordinance specifically as to the location of the polling place. That's just information that's provided to the citizens through the registrar's office.
So we don't have to adopt polling places?
Well, you could include polling place locations in your ordinance, but your ordinance has not
Doesn't
in the
do that.
past. It
Okay.
does not do that.
Great. All right,
This would
thank
be
you.
creating just the precinct itself.
I got you. Okay. All right, board, is there a motion?
I make a motion that the board direct staff to advertise ordinance 2026-2 for public hearing on February 17th, 2026.
There's a motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. Is there any discussion?
Just, so basically what you're doing is you're creating one for all the town residents when you have a town resident for the town council. Because right now you have people that are coming from outside of the town that vote in the town. Is that correct? So you want to create one for the residents outside the town?
Almost. What happens is we have the courthouse precinct within the second district. Within the courthouse precinct is the town. They all go to one precinct to vote. That requires them to have, when there is a town election, that requires that precinct to have two ballot styles. Our electronic poll books and our voting rolls it lines out who's a town member and who is not. But we want to make sure, because back in 2021, when they did redistricting, one of their goals was to eliminate the need for multiple ballot styles in any voting precinct. So I want to try to keep up with that, and it just
Simplifies it.
kind of streamlines it for poll workers on that day, especially during town elections.
All right. Any further discussion? Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
We'll see you next time. All right, moving on to the consent agenda. Board, is there a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the consent agenda.
All right, motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
And I vote aye. Okay, new business. The VMI resolution. Who wants to address that?
I'll be glad to. Members of the board, Ms. Tucker asked us to consider this. This is a resolution that the Amherst County Board of Supervisors would be in opposition to proposed House Bill 1377. That bill has been introduced in the 2026 General Assembly, which in sum creates a task force to determine whether the Virginia Military Institute should continue to be a state-sponsored institution of higher education in the Commonwealth, and that VMI was founded, well, it talks about the founding in this resolution. This is in general terms, this is a resolution that supports VMI as in the standing that it's currently in. We would send this, if approved by you, we would send this to the bill's sponsor and everyone on the committee.
Okay, thank you. Board, is there any questions? Or is there a motion?
I move we adopt resolution 2026-1-R.
All right, motion on the floor by Mr. Campbell. Any further discussion? All those in favor of adopting the resolution signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes. Moving on to ambulance grant approval. Chief Bean.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chair, members of the board. Amherst County, we applied for a 50/50 grant from Virginia Office of EMS for a remount of an ambulance. At our current rhythm of replacing the ambulances, you all typically we buy one a year. We know probably about every 4 years we probably need another one to stay in a battle rhythm of about 200,000 miles per ambulance is where we're trying to get to. This year, it really just all came together. We were able to be successful in a 50/50 grant, which is $150,000 from Office of EMS. We were able to buy a demo ambulance, which saved $107,000 on the current fiscal year purchase. And then we would ask the remaining 60 grand to come out of funds that we have from the Amherst Life Saving Crew. So we're not asking for any new money today. We're just asking for the acceptance of this 50/50 grant. It would be to remount a 2014 ambulance, which is one of the ones that the Life Saving Crew donated to the county when they closed. We're not always able to remount ambulances depending on the year of standards. Ambulances are built on standards, and if we get too many standards out, there's too many new things that have to happen. This one, just all the stars have aligned. That truck is within one standard out, which they can bring up. And we have the 50/50 grant from Office of EMS. So we'd ask your blessing to accept that 50/50 grant, use the carryover money we have this year, and then up to 60 grand out of the budget that we currently have for the remount of that ambulance. It's about an 18-month process to get that done.
All right, thank you, Chief Beam. Is there any questions?
Sounds like a good deal.
All right, there's a motion.
I'll move that the board approves staff's acceptance of the 50/50 matching grant from the Virginia Office of EMS in the amount of $150,000. The board further approves the use of $107,311.80 remaining from the FY '26 ambulance purchase allocation and the use of approximately $60,000 from funds transferred to the county following the closure of the Amherst Life Saving Crew.
Motion on the floor by Mr. Pugh. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Motion passes.
Thank you, Board. Appreciate that.
All right, moving on to CVTC Smart Scale Options. Mr. Creasy.
Apologize, board, I did not get in here time to pull this stuff up. All right, Chairman, Board, I come before you today to try and get feedback from you all regarding the connecting road which you all would prefer from Route 210 to the Central Virginia Training Center property. Just a little background, the board approved in July of 2022 an update to our current comprehensive plan. That update included the addition of the master plan of redevelopment for CVTC. That was a study that was done in conjunction with our EDA and the Lynchburg Business Alliance, and then was adopted into the comprehensive plan. Since then, VDOT secured funding and they conducted studies regarding an entrance or a new entrance into this property, which would help with the redevelopment and fulfill the master plan. That redevelopment, or the study done on that connector road, was finally finalized a few weeks ago, and it came up with 3 different options. We are now in the process of taking these options before you, trying to figure out which best suits what the county wants to see, and then to apply for smart scale funding. I'm going to go through the options, but before I do that, I'd like to just go over a couple of points so that you all are aware of as we're going through this. We do not need a decision from you all here today. We understand you do not have a full board here. However, we would like to just put this in your mind that we would like a decision at your next meeting, which I believe is February 17th, if possible. We did just get this study, and the EDA would also like to review this information, and they meet next Wednesday on February 11th. So we would hopefully be able to bring their recommendation to you as well at that time. And then lastly, we have Mr. Carson Eckhart here with VDOT for if you have any technical questions about the study that was done. So now flipping to the screen, we have a few alternatives. This is alternative A. On the left-hand side, this is Route 210, which is that connector road, really from Madison Heights to the bypass. I can pull up the GIS if you need me to get you some more bearings. This one, and this information is found in your packet. There are a few pros to it. It's more of a straight line stretch right to the training center property. However, it does go through 2 of the buildings in here, and I will say the buildings that you see before you, kind of in this general cluster, are the newer buildings within the development that were done most recently. So if any developer was to come in and wants to keep buildings, it is our opinion that these buildings where this entrance is going would be the ones they'd want to keep. And this one costs approximately $19 million to $27 million. I'll move on to our alternative B. Sort of like the same configuration, a little more of a loop here, and you do tear down one building as well. This estimated cost is between 19 and 28 million. And then alternative C, which is staff's recommendation off of looking after reviewing with VDOT for a short time, is this, in which we keep most of the buildings. You can see sort of north, well, how it's pictured to the north of the proposed road. There are a few buildings that may be impacted. However, a majority of them will be kept intact. This is the lower cost of them all as well. But there are, of course, there are pros and cons to each of the alternatives here. Of course, the cons on this one are side slopes are a little bit steeper and may require long-term maintenance down the road. These are your three alternatives that VDOT has come up with through their study. And as I mentioned, we're looking to apply for a smart scale project. So that would be 100% funded if we're approved for this. There is no cost to the locality for a smart scale project. However, in order to apply, we do need to pick an alternative. I will say if we do decide not to apply this year, we would have to wait 2 more years to reapply for smart scale funding. And smart scale funding is typically about 5 to 6 years out after it's been approved for when we will see things being built. I've also passed around some inserts from the master plan that was approved and part of your comprehensive plan. The first sheet gives you pretty much a legend of the general layout of what they envision for this property. And then the second page is the street diagram that they came up with during that redevelopment plan. And I've also mentioned Carson Eckhart is here if you have any technical questions regarding the study or alternatives.
Okay, board, any questions?
I mean, I've looked through what you have, and I don't see how you could justify tearing the buildings down to build the road. I mean, I think the staff's recommendation is the recommendation that I would go with if I had to make a choice today. It makes the most sense. Yes, there's pros and cons of all of them, but it also requires less earthwork and limited demolition. So, but of course, I'm fine with allowing more time for each department or whoever it may be to study this.
Anyone else? Mr. Adams, Mr. Campbell? All right, so I have a question on all three alternatives. It said signal not justified because of no traffic. We know that to be the case today, but if the property redevelops as we hope, I mean, definitely if we're gonna put a multi-million-dollar road in there, we're hoping it's gonna redevelop, right? And
Yes, sir.
that's why we're doing this. At some point, there's gonna need to be a signal there, right?
That's correct. Yes, and that was part of the quick conversation. I'm sorry.
We're not going to allow a signal there.
So that was part of the conversation. Carson, you might be able to speak a little bit more to this. They will have to do a signal justification at some point. I do not believe it's needed for the smart scale. Would you be able to speak any more onto that?
Yeah, they wouldn't need a signal at this moment.
Yeah, so they wouldn't need a signal at this moment due to there being no traffic, but if a developer were to come in, they would have to do a traffic impact analysis through our TE division, in which the developer would then be responsible for putting that signal into the intersection.
Thank you. All right, board, what's your pleasure? Do you want to move this forward now or wait until Ms. Tucker is back? Oh, yes, Mr. Bryant. Sorry.
I just wanted to, I think, talk to Ms. Hanson. The EDA would like to review it and make a recommendation to you between now and the next meeting, if that's possible.
Okay, is there a motion to table this?
So moved.
All right, motion on the floor to table this until our next meeting. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. Thank you. All right, moving on, county attorney.
Thank you.
Tell us all about vape shops.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. At the December 16th meeting, then Chairwoman Tucker had requested that I provide the board with information on how best to regulate the location and operation of vape shops. I've done some research into this. The actual authority to control what is sold is actually an authority that falls under the federal government through the FDA. And they have basically a pre-market qualification process in which providers of these vapes are to submit applications to them, and then they are to be approved or disapproved based on their evaluation. Interesting bit of information that I found was that between 2019 and 2023, the FDA had received 26 million pre-market applications from over 500 different companies, but they only granted 39, and those were specifically to big tobacco companies. So that is why there is pending legislation that has enjoined enforcement of statutory language that the General Assembly adopted last year that went into effect July 1st, but was to begin being enforced December 31st. That lawsuit has since put a hold on enforcement, and so therefore we are kind of pending, waiting to see what happens in that regard. Now, having said that, that does not preclude local governments from going forward in using its authority under the zoning ordinance to limit location, distance between vape shops themselves, distances from schools, those types of things, which is what most localities I have discovered are beginning to do in terms of trying to prohibit the clustering of vape shops and to ensure the vape shops are literally not located across the street from a high school. So those would be the options that I would recommend. It probably would be best to ask the Planning Commission to look into it and see what they can come up with as recommendations to the board as possible solutions.
Thank you, Mr. Popovich. Board, are there any questions?
No, at this moment.
So I have a few, and it's probably for Mr. Brown or Mr. Creasy, and you probably don't know this off the top of your head, but be good to know, how many vape shops do we have in the county now?
Probably roughly 5 or 6. Not including the town.
Are they compliant with our sign ordinances? We have,
Right, so I would say some of that's kind of hard because I would have to go look at our ordinance to see if they are, to give you a more direct answer, because a lot of it's like advertising, like product, and I got to see if we can go in there and legally have that removed or not. I know with the lights and stuff, since most of them are on Route 29, those flashing lights and different colored lights are permitted. But regarding the other, yeah, so long as they aren't resemble like traffic lights. So like if they've got like an orange one or a blue one, like the light bright up ones, they can have those. But if they resemble traffic lights, then that's when we have some enforcement to go after those. But regarding the signages for the type of products they're selling, I'd have to look more into that if that's allowed.
like, we need a sign ordinance review is what it sounds like to me, but Board, is there anyone that'd like to send this on to the Planning Commission? Or would we wait for Ms. Tucker? All right,
But moving it on.
okay.
But at the same time, I'd like to also have a discussion with the sheriff as well about some law enforcement issues that we may have had along the way.
Well, I think it's two separate issues. One about who they're actually selling the product to, and then it's a matter of, you know, where they're located in the county, right? So, so how do you want to handle that? Do you want to ask the Planning Commission to start looking at ordinances, or do you want to wait to talk to Sheriff Ayers?
No, I think we can do them hand in hand, Mr. Chairman. I'd say we go ahead and move it on to the Planning Commission.
All right, so is that a motion?
Yes, sir. Make that as a motion.
All right, any discussion on that? All those in favor of asking the Planning Commission to draft an ordinance concerning vape shops, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. All right, thank you, Mr. Popovich. All right, next thing on our agenda is Economic Development Authority Board Annual Report. Welcome.
Thank you. All right, thank you, Chair and Board. I'm Andrew Proctor. Thank you for letting us present our annual 2025 report to you. I think, you guys have gotten to know, or I've gotten to know a lot more of you this year, and I think vice versa as well. And I think I said it last year, and I'll say it again. I think we have a really great board right now that has a very diverse set of business expertise. And it's a very enjoyable group to serve on because we can have robust dialogue and come to really good decisions for the county. Our staff is also great. They've been around a long time, which is great to have that tenure and experience. Ms. Hanson is going to be retiring in mid-February, so I'll touch on more of that later, but we've got a great team, and Lori will be making that transition to be our executive director actually when she returns from her vacation here in about a week. I keep our mission piece in here, not to read it to you here, but just in case anyone wanted to look at it after the fact. But our mission and our vision, and I kind of dig into them a little bit more here, but the goals continue to always be creating quality jobs and retaining the jobs that we have, and then helping the businesses in the county grow, which helps the tax base, and in general, all this would lead to improving the quality of life for the citizens. We also keep this slide in here. I know you guys have seen it before. They're not my favorite terms, basic and non-basic, but at the end of the day, it's a cycle that feeds itself. So we do try to spend a lot of our time working on opportunities that bring in manufacturing as an example. Those would be things under the basic side, where those types of companies are also creating demand for the non-basic that are noted here. So we try to touch on both of them, which is why sometimes our things are very, we might be talking to the smaller businesses, and sometimes we're talking to the much larger ones. But you need to be following up with both. Our couple of key initiatives for this year, so some changes, and I know everybody's aware of a lot of these, but the Amherst Commerce Center continues to be a spot that companies are frequently reach out to our staff about. We'll probably need to clean this slide up and make this picture look a little different here in the next few weeks. But we have our multi-tenant building in the large lot there that I know you guys have visited. Amazon's building is in lot number 4, which doesn't say sold on it, but you can see what that one looks like. And then there's this wooded lot that's down towards the bottom right that could be cleared. We have considered that as, should we tackle it now, should we not? We intentionally chose to not do it yet for some, I think, good reasons. But the point here is a lot of our larger lots have actually now been spoken for, which is a good problem to have, but it keeps us focused outside of the Commerce Center as well for new opportunities. The multi-tenant building, we did complete it in 2024, and we've been actively marketing this. We have tried to, marketing can be really expensive, so we've tried to keep this to more of the less expensive route to get that out there. But every month that goes by, it is top of mind at our board meetings. What else do we want to do to put it out there? How else do we drive it? We've taken it to the state and making sure that everyone, that they are also helping us drive it. So we want to get it out there, whether one person takes it or it ends up being multiple. But we do get lots of questions about it. Sometimes really the challenge might be it's in some cases it's been too big for people, in some cases too small. So it's just interesting that's, and what we have also heard is it's not uncommon for this, but it is top of mind for us. The progress on the Amazon building is quite extensive. That's probably even looks dated even without the snow now. They are really going gangbusters over there. It's looking good, and so far we've not had any major complaints about anything on that piece. The Dillard site, a couple of highlights here. We did close on that in December, which feels like a million years ago at this point, but that is very recent, the fact that we closed that. We appreciate your support there and going after this site. That was critical for the reason I mentioned earlier, that the Commerce Center is getting more filled up. This is a very strategic investment. We are trying to make sure that we can use this site to generate a lot of new opportunity for the county. We did secure a second grant that you've noted at the bottom there to help us further that along, to basically get the site more appealing, more ready for the next person that would hopefully get in there. This is just the picture of the site, just to highlight the fact that it has what's really interesting to different manufacturing groups is the fact that it has, because sort of the big three, it has power, has rail, and has gas. So the site plan is laid out like this, so we can highlight that to folks locally and at the state level and call that out. And we try to do these different views to help them see what an opportunity might look like, create that vision for them. The training center, you guys just talking about that on a related topic. We continue to partner with Lynchburg Regional Business Alliance on that, and our local politicians. There looks like there's probably going to be a total of 16 million now, assuming the next 10 million potential on that bill goes through. That could be used for the salvage, demolition, and remediation, which would be great. That is something, obviously, developers get in there and they get anxious about all those pieces. So we continue to try to advocate for that to make the site more appealing for the possible developers. Leadership Amherst has been going very well. I'm trying to remember how many years this program has been. About six years. So Lori is the lead of this program. She's done a great job with it. We just completed that one and had 6 graduates this particular year. Beautification Committee, we continue to partner closely with that. Some of our board members are also on that board, and they do a fantastic job of helping clean up that corridor and advertise really for more growth and for those businesses. The focus areas for 2026, so I kind of like to start putting this in every year to kind of call out for you guys, what are we really, it's top of mind for us. Obviously, the multi-tenant building is a top piece. We want to get somebody in there, but we want to get the right group in there, right? We don't want, I'm not saying we're going to be so picky we turn anybody down, but we want somebody who's really going to use it and not just use it for a very short little period of time, but also drive economic growth for the county. We continue all the work with the Dillard site. Victoria has been a great champion for helping find those grants, getting those grants, and get that work going, which is what future companies want to see. Also engaging our existing businesses in the county. So Lori has championed that effort a lot, and as she moves into that new role, I expect that we'll be doing even more of that. And really trying for us as the board is how do we help in this transition between Victoria retiring and Lori taking the reins here. So I didn't want to miss this opportunity to call that out for Victoria. 12 years of true dedication to the EDA, but there just wasn't enough room on the slide, but really for the county. Like, she really does try to keep the county first, figure out how to drive growth for the county. She does a great job of keeping the board, informed, help us sort of navigate some of the ways we have to work through the governmental processes, which I can tell you are complicated, and make sure that we don't miss the right opportunities to get in front of you guys. So I want to thank her for that. I'm sure we'll do something else as well. But any questions from you guys or those on the phone?
Board members?
No, I know that the Avalon Industrial Park, the building there is probably a top priority. The longer that kind of sits vacant, it's not good for the EDA or us as well. So we hope that we get some movement on that. But congratulations on securing the Dillard track and all of the grants that have went along with that. We appreciate the work that you did there, and we appreciate Victoria and her always pleasant demeanor dealing with her. She's always been so pleasant and nice, never real flustered, and we appreciate her time of service to Amherst County.
Mr. Adams? Okay, well, Mr. Proctor, thank you so much for the update. And Ms. Hanson, congratulations, well earned, and I hope you much rest and relaxation. Travel, whatever it is you're gonna do. All right, so thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, moving on, citizen comment. Is there anyone that would like to address the board? Seeing none, we'll move on to matters from members of the board. Mr. Campbell, Mr. Pugh,
I have nothing.
Mr. Adams,
I have nothing.
and I have nothing. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
I vote aye. We stand adjourned.